remember the first time I climbed Fizztop Mountain. Wind howling like a dying Brahmin, blood on the steps, and the iron stink of 1,000 bad decisions rising from below. If you listen close, really close, you can still hear the chains swaying in the dark, still hear the cages creaking, still hear the whispers of the ones who didn't walk out. And somewhere inside that mountain, behind the shredded banners and the rust-bitten catwalks, you can hear the disciples laughing, or whatever passes for laughing when a raider forgets they're human. Tonight, we peel back their mask. We step into the knives. We descend the mountain that never stopped bleeding. Because Nisha's gang, the disciples, weren't just raiders. They were the Wasteland's reminder that cruelty is contagious. Every faction starts somewhere. Somewhere small, somewhere stupid. But the disciples, they were born in a torture chamber. Long before Nuka-World became a raider kingdom, long before the pack painted the midway in neon, long before the operators sharpened their knives for profit, there was Sledge. A no-name raider boss, a bully with a bad temper, a man who picked the wrong apprentice. Nisha, a girl who learned early that pain is a language, and she became fluent. For a month she tortured Sledge. A month. 30 days of carving her philosophy into his skin. And when she slit his throat, she didn't just take control. She took identity. She renamed the gang the Disciples and made brutality their scripture. One of the corrupted terminals we recovered from Fizztop still spits fragments of their early doctrine. While to Daru, Kilflers, near, bleed, only survivors of the Protect. Almost unreadable, but the message is clear enough. Porter Gage tried to tame them. Tried to pull the teeth out of a pack animal that never wanted to stop biting. His first messenger, sent to offer alliance, Nisha murdered him before he even finished his pitch. Yeah, real diplomatic. So Gage sent a second one, and this time he didn't ask. He negotiated with the certainty of a man who knew he was standing in a pool of blood. The deal was simple. The pack, the operators, the disciples, 3 gangs, 1 kingdom. Nuka-World. But there was a problem. Overboss Coulter, a man who thought a shiny power armor suit and a glowing shield could hide the fact that he was bored, lazy, detached. To keep the disciples entertained, he built the Gauntlet, the deadliest hallway in the Commonwealth. Turrets, tripwires, radiation bursts, ghoul cages, blade traps, and disciples maintaining it all with the pride of chefs sharpening knives before a feast. But even death gets dull when you've watched it enough, and soon the disciples grew restless again. Another corrupted file we found down there, a disciple rant typed in panic, reads, "We never enough, more knife, more bleeding. Coulter dull, dull, dull. Want new boss, want new blood." That misspelled mess? That's what it looks like when boredom turns into murder hunger. Let me tell you about the leaders. Because understanding them is understanding why Fizztop screamed for so many years. Nisha. Not charismatic. Not diplomatic. Just terrifying. She rules through fear, example, and the knowledge that she'll carve an answer out of you if you hesitate. Her armor? Spikes welded by hand. Her mask? Expressionless metal that erases the face beneath. Her voice? cold enough to make rad storms feel warm. Savoy, her enforcer, a walking wall of knives and muscle. Kills because it's easy. Kills because it's Tuesday. Kills because he enjoys problem solving in the most literal way possible. Dixie, a sadist with style, a butcher with vanity. She kills for fun, but only if she looks good doing it. In another world, she'd be a hairstylist. But here, she's fashioning intestines into garlands. The rank and file. Mostly women, some non-binary. A few men who either don't mind following terrifying women or haven't realized they're next on the chopping block. Their uniform. Leather straps, scrap metal plates, masks that cover everything. Identity erased. Humanity locked away. Just eyes behind iron. In their barracks, we recovered another garbled entry. Mask. Cover. The self. Knife is the name. No names. No faces. The gang didn't wear masks to hide. They wore masks to forget they were ever anything but animals. I've seen what they did inside Fizztop. Cages hanging from the rafters like ornaments. Corpses slumped in corners like discarded props. Blood pooling into old drainage channels where park workers once washed dishes. The disciples turned a 5-star restaurant into a slaughterhouse with a view. One Face Corp archivist, Ellen Serro, walked into a lower maintenance tunnel searching for an intact terminal. She didn't come back. We found what was left of her 2 days later, in a cage, shifted into a posture the human body shouldn't hold. I still carry that one. Some losses become part of you, scar tissue behind the ribs. One more corrupted segment we pulled from their terminals shows a prisoner trying to type through broken fingers. Day, watching, blood on floor, can't run. They say, don't get caught. A rule so simple it's almost funny. Almost. But when a faction has only one rule, and that rule isn't don't kill, you know what kind of place you're standing in. Face Corp shows up, walks through the Gauntlet, survives everything that should have torn them apart, and kills Overboss Coulter in front of all 3 gangs. You could feel the shift. The disciples wanted blood. The pack wanted spectacle. The operators wanted profit. But Nisha? She wanted someone who'd kill without hesitation. They weren't subtle about it either. We found another corrupted log fragment near Nisha's planning table. If boss no give, we take. Savoy ready. Dixie ready. The park will run red again. That wasn't a threat. It was a promise. There are 2 endings to this story. Both are true. Both are real. Both are written in the archives. Ending 1. The Blood Crown. If the sole survivor chooses to rule through violence, the disciples flourish. Territory grows. Bodies pile. The park becomes a kingdom of screams. Tribute drops, because they don't care for loot, but the carnage makes up for it in their eyes. Ending 2. The Cleansing. If the sole survivor chooses open season, they wipe out Nisha, Savoy, and Dixie. They cleanse Fizztop. They free the captives. They restore a little sanity to a place that desperately needed it. Face Corp teams later swept the mountain. We found charred bones, countless masks, and dozens of corrupted terminals still whispering fragments like blood. We still hear. Even in death, the disciples don't shut up. Funny thing about masks. People think they hide who you are, but sometimes they show it. The disciples didn't wear masks to protect themselves. They wore masks because the truth underneath was too small, too broken, too ashamed to face the world. I've seen raiders before. I've fought them. I've bled beside good people to stop them. But the disciples, they were something different. They were what happens when a group decides that humanity is optional, when kindness is weakness, when cruelty becomes craft. But even now, even after everything I've seen, I still climb Fizztop some nights, stand beneath those hanging cages, listen to the wind move through the old tunnels, and I wonder, how many of them were monsters because it was easy? And how many were monsters because the Wasteland demanded it? You can learn a lot from a mask. And everything the disciples were, was carved into theirs. So here's the truth. The one I promised you back at the start. Fizztop Mountain never stopped bleeding. It just learned to bleed quieter. Maybe that's the real curse of Nuka-World. Not the raiders, not the carnage, not the rust or the screams or the broken terminals. Maybe the curse is that once you step into that mountain, once you breathe its air, once you hear the chains sway where the disciples once danced, you realize the Wasteland didn't make them. They made themselves. And that's the part that keeps me up at night. Because the mountain still bleeds. And some nights, if the wind hits right, it sounds like it's calling my name.
Archive node reconnecting. Face Corp terminal online.
Well, you made it to the end, Wastelander. And I want to thank you for walking this dusty road with me. These stories, they live because you keep listening, because you care, because the Wasteland still has folks like you out there. If you've got a topic you want me to dig into next, a vault, a faction, a legend, a cover-up, send it my way. Face Corp is always monitoring incoming requests. And hey, if you enjoyed this archive entry, press that like button. It keeps the terminal lights on. And if you want more stories from the ruins, go on and subscribe. Your support helps Face Corp recover and preserve every last fragment of our shattered world.
Loading next recommended archive file. File located. Displaying now.
It's right there on your screen. Go on. Open it. I'll meet you inside.